Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Writers Not Writing Show. I'm your host, Brian Dunn, and this is the show that seeks to answer the question, why am I not writing as much as I should be writing? Yeah. Anyway, the reason that I haven't been writing as much as I should be of late is because of this guy, Freddie freaking Hubbard. Take a look. Oh, yeah, that's him. If you want to see the non-avatar look that he's got going, there we go. That is Senior Freddie Hubbard. This guy is a jazz legend and a trumpet giant. And oh my gosh, if you know who this guy is, I'm really not sure that I can help you. Let me put this back real quick in a safe place. Hope the dogs don't get to that. Yeah, so Freddie Hubbard. Wow, I've been on a huge Freddie Hubbard kick. And you know, when I was a kid, I was always into jazz, and I played trumpet kind of like all through school and through college a little bit. And so, you know, obviously the first jazz guys that I kind of glommed onto were the trumpet players. Freddie Hubbard. Oh my gosh. I think the first time I heard that guy, it kind of just blew my mind. I mean, that guy is such a fiery, fiery trumpet player. I mean, you know, it's Freddie Hubbard when you hear the first notes coming out of that guy's horn, you know. Um, Man, and just like so, like just the dexterity in his playing, you know, like just like jumping all over the horn, and you know, not known as being like a high note guy per se, you know, like he wasn't gonna, you know, like battle Maynard Ferguson or somebody like that for high note supremacy, but man, he liked to use the upper register, and he could really do it in a really nice way to create nice effects, you know. I'm gonna show you the first Freddie Hubbard album I ever purchased. That one you saw, that is Backlash, by the way. That's one of those 180 gram, you know, reissues that they do, and I love that they're doing that. But the first Freddie Hubbard album I ever bought, I've got it right behind me. Hold on. Oh my God, baby, Red Clay, the original Red Clay album on CTI Records, stands for Creed Taylor Incorporated. When I was a kid, I must have purchased this when I was like, I don't know, 12 years old, something like that, like right when it came out. Check out the picture on the back of this. Oh, what? Look at that. To like a, you know, 12, 13-year-old kid who's a trumpet player, you look at that and you're like, that's the coolest picture I've ever seen in my life. Look at that with like all the little wispy smoke and everything, and God, that just looks so cool. I remember just like staring at that and being like, I bet that's how it looks when he plays. Yeah, I bet that like wispy smokes just kind of like circulate around the guy's horn. Anyway, classic album right here. First one I ever bought. I want to put that in a safe place. And so I enjoyed that immensely. And Red Clay, I mean, I don't know if you guys know like what Red Clay is all about. It's got that famous bass line that do 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 do, and then Lenny White on the drums, you know, like backing that up, and then Joe Henderson on tenor and Freddie Hubbard, and just wild. I mean, just like wild stuff that those guys were playing. And so I recently got into Freddie Hubbard again because I was just kind of like listening to this. I guess it's Slacker Radio. I don't know. It came free with like my DVD player that I bought eons ago. I was just listening to it. Freddie Hubbard came on, and I thought, hey, this guy. I need to get back to listening to this guy. I haven't listened to him in a while. So I did, and oh my God, like what have I been doing not listening to this guy for so long again? Guy's just amazing. I went out and I corrected a wrong. I righted a wrong that had happened. God, it must have been like 15 years ago or so now. I was standing in a Borders Books and Music, the one that's it was on Tatum and Cactus Road here in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. And yeah, it was back when Borders was still a thing. And I remember CTI Records had just reissued Red Clay on CD. Okay, and they included a couple bonus tracks. And I remember I was standing there in Borders, and I thought, boy, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I should buy the CD. I thought, I've got the album. I still have the Technics turntables that I can play that thing on whenever I want. And I thought, is it really worth buying the CD for just like an extra track or two? The extra track was a live version of Red Clay recorded somewhere. Oh shit, my dog's almost getting into the albums. Oh, CJ, God bless it, you crazy mongrel. What do you, get away from my... It's my dog. CJ almost tried to put him out of his way. Let me put him over here. Crazy. Ah. Woo. All right, got him. Wow. Oh God, look at Hunter. God, I can't get this corner to stay. Hunty, how you doing today, man? All right, he says he's good. He says he's good. My dog will lick anything. Just by the way, I don't think that was an overreaction because I think he would have licked those Freddie Hubbard albums. I've seen him lick one time when the bathroom sink was disassembled and there was this pipe, and this pipe has had like all manner of stuff go through it through the years, and the pipe was just lying right on the floor there, and my dog CJ just walked up to it and just started licking the inside of it. He's not discriminating at all with stuff like that. So anyway, but back to Freddie Hubbard. So I remember thinking, oh God, do I want to spend like 18, 19 bucks on the CD version of Red Clay? And there was a live cut of Red Clay that was kind of like the big, hey, bonus track kind of a thing. And I just remember thinking, I don't know. Is this going to be like some sort of money grab? Is this what are they just trying to get me to part with $20 of my hard-earned money? And so I didn't buy it. And then upon hearing Freddie again and like digging into some of my albums, I decided, you know what? I need to get that Red Clay CD and see what's going on with that. And so I did. So I did get that CD, and here it is. Classic front cover. Check out the back cover. That classic picture, not quite as cool as the other one because it's just scale. It's smaller, but yeah. So first thing I do is I want to see if this live version of Red Clay is as good as advertised. I mean, right? That's like one of the reasons they reissue this thing is let's slap this additional track on there. Oh my God. That track is the coolest track I think I have ever heard in my life. I don't know where it was recorded. I couldn't find it in the liner notes here. It looks like the same lineup as is on the album. Although it sounds like they've added George Benson to the mix, guitarist. I don't know. But anyway, it takes place in front of a live crowd. And listening to that, man, I was struck by a number of things. First, jazz is supposed to be heard live. It is so cool when it's performed live and when it's experienced live. There's nothing like it. I mean, the crowd is into it. The crowd is like really behind these guys. Like people are kind of shouting in the audience. They're like, egging the musicians on. It's awesome. And there's like, applause throughout. And at the end, a big old like, yeah, that was awesome. So very cool to hear it. And Freddie sounds great. Interesting thing about it is, the one thing about Freddie is he likes to do these kind of like these weird intros to some songs, like kind of like with Red Clay, it's like this free form and kind of just like, like hit a chord and then like just kind of play just like stuff over it, like kind of like off the cuff, just free improvisation kind of things. And then that kind of like slowly like fades out and then you start the actual tune. I don't know. Damn it, Hunter. I got to get some new adhesive for that. And then you go into the tune. And so it's weird because it doesn't sound really connected. And he did that on the studio version, and on the live version, same thing. They do like the whole little thing, and then he does that on various other tracks on other albums. And I don't know. I don't really know too many people who started stuff like that. Just kind of like, hey, we're gonna work our way into it. Hey, man, you play that A flat minor chord, and I'm just gonna like play some stuff, and then we're all gonna do our thing, and then we'll start the tune. I don't know, but he does that, and it's cool, and I'm struck by that, and I'm also struck by the fact that, man, he goes for it. Like he goes for it. He doesn't hold back. He plays just fiery stuff. He plays with passion, and just like goes for licks. And if he doesn't quite get it, I mean, most of the time he does, don't get me wrong. But if he doesn't quite get there, it's like, hey, you know what? On to the next one. Because this guy is just like idea after idea after idea, right? Which is so cool. There are also some like typical Freddie Hubbard licks that you hear. Like you hear the triplet lick. He's got this thing that he does, not all the time, but like you'll hear it throughout, various songs on various albums. It's like a doobity 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 doobity, and he'll just like do that for a long time. And he's got some other things. I can't even like describe what they sound like, but they're like only Freddie Hubbard kind of plays those kind of licks. One thing about this is that's very cool is at one point he plays a lick, and it sounds like he's like like not quite getting there at the end, like it's not exactly what he's hearing in his head, and so he just like uncorks this really high note, and he just holds it, and he holds it like forever. So like the rhythm section is just like grooving behind him, and he's just like nailed this note, and he's just like sitting on it for the longest time, and it is so cool. And the crowd's like, whoa. What's even cooler is when he finishes that note, he hits a higher one for just like a brief instant. So he starts his next lick even higher than the note before, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that. It was like as if he was saying, yeah, you know what, this is a pretty high note that you're gonna hear me play, but this is not the limit of my range. I've got more in the tank. And then just like bah, and then like something higher. So super cool, very cool. And the crowd just like they love his solo on it. So he gets big applause. He takes a solo, and they're like, yeah, that's awesome. Okay. And then Joe Henderson, I mean, freaking Joe Henderson comes in on tenor and plays his solo, and he uncorks a great solo, just funky and like with that great Joe Henderson sound, and he does his thing, and he gets the crowd going, and they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Good job, Joe. And then it's interesting because then George Benson solos, and I don't know, George Benson. I don't know. I mean, nothing against the guy. I do, and this is just me just being a jerk. Like I hold against him the fact that he kind of started out more as a straight ahead jazz guitar player. Like he had the George Benson quartet, I believe it was, with Ronnie Cuber on tenor and. Not on tenor, I'm sorry, on baritone saxophone, Ronnie Cuber, who's just a monster player, has played with, Charles Mingus big band for a lot of years now. And in addition to that, had, I believe, Lonnie Smith, Dr. Lonnie Smith on organ on the Hammond B3. And that was a great, just like tight, straight ahead jazz group. And then he gave that up for like the more commercial kind of stuff. And listen, like I am not going to begrudge any musician for making money. I mean, God knows it's a tough road to hoe when you're a jazz musician or any artist. But you know what? George Benson decided he wanted to play on Broadway, and do that whole thing and like get his whole image together and style and all that, and cater to the the wine drinking crowd. That's fine. You can do that, but when you're a jazz fan and you hear somebody who has really great straight ahead jazz chops and they choose not to use that, you're just kind of like, yeah, why can't we support artists in this country? Why must we make them do stuff like on Broadway? And it just kind of makes you sad. But then back to the listening of the Red Clay live track, George Benson starts to solo, and he starts out like kind of on the on the slow side a little bit, like he's working his way into it, like just like plinking and plunking and everything, and there's a guy in the crowd who like wants him to like really kind of like take off with his solo, and so the guy says to him, "Come on, baby." Which to me is like the greatest thing, that you have this guy in the crowd who feels like it's okay for him to say to George Benson, "Come on, baby, like, hey, like, we want you to do something more, like enough of the plinking and plunking." And that's so funny to me, that somebody would do that. And George, like, much to his credit, he's very accommodating. He picks it up a little bit, after that, and he ends up playing a really good solo as well. But yeah, but that just made me laugh, like the interaction with the musicians, and the crowd, what was so cool to hear. and just the reception that all the guys got when the tune was over, and just kind of like the energy they all brought, like feeding off that live crowd being there. Very, very cool. I mean, worth the price of the CD alone just for that track, but I also get all the others. I'm looking at it right here, and I can't help but like glance down. I'm looking at the track list here. So yeah, so 6 tracks on this. Well worth the money. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and this made me just really think about how much I love live jazz. And I just heard that Hunter came unglued again. Hunty, you better behave, my man. All right, so that's why I haven't been writing as much as I should be, because I've been digging on some Freddie Hubbard. I'm going to continue to do so. I recommend that you do it as well, or just listen to jazz like anybody you want to. There's so many great cats out there to listen to. So listen to jazz. If you're not going to write, do that. And all right, and so thanks for tuning into the Writers Not Writing Show. My name is Brian Dunn. I'm your humble host, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everybody. See ya.